We all have a unique view of the world we are in, how you overcome your challenges or attain your goals. Every experience in life has the potential to inspire, influence, and impact those around us. Welcome to the 3i Stories podcast by Better Version of You. Hello and welcome, friends, to another episode of the 3i Stories podcast by Better Version of You. Today, we have an incredible guest with us, an amazing young woman who wears multiple hats, be it a daughter, a sister, a wife, a friend, a colleague, a mother, corporate leader, and many others. I'm so excited to be talking to her in our episode. And let's not prolong the excitement. Let's welcome our guest, Ashwani. Ashwani, how are you today?
Hello, Pritesh. I am great. Thank you for the beautiful introduction and for having me on the podcast. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my stories and experiences, and I'm very excited to be part of it.
And excellent, because I am super excited to hear your story and to having this conversation with you. So, Ashwani, to get us underway, could you tell us a little bit about where you are from and your journey into New Zealand?
Perfect. I'm originally from Fiji. I moved to New Zealand in 2012. I guess when you move countries at a young age, you're already trying to figure out who you are. And on top of that, you're trying to navigate new culture, language differences. So I finished my high school here. I completed my high school and then I went into finishing my degree. And during university, I worked part-time as a event coordinator and choreographer at Mr. MC Events. So life has always been busy and full on for me. Currently, I am working at the Real Estate Institute as the Education and Business Development Manager. I think this role has challenged me in the way, it's helped me grow. It's allowed me to work with people from different backgrounds while also continuing to build my career and confidence. And on a personal level, I got married to my husband 3 years ago. We bought our first home and moved in a month before my baby was born. So that was a very special and a very emotional milestone for me. Yeah, that's a bit about me.
Wow, you've covered quite a lot in a small span of time, but I wanna break it down a little bit. So you mentioned you were born in Fiji and you moved to New Zealand, and you were at the age of 12 when you moved, right? So that's fairly young. Could you just tell us a little bit about the initial days of you moving into a new country? I know you mentioned a new culture, but could you just elaborate a little bit more, especially
Right.
settling in, going to school? How did you find that journey?
Oh my God. Yeah, the journey was actually quite a difficult one, moving into New Zealand, and adjusting. It was a whole new experience for me. I was initially bullied in high school, which was a very hard thing for me. It really impacted my confidence, and made me feel isolated. Initially, I struggled a lot. I stayed to myself. I was very quiet, and slowly I built, relationships and like friendships among my colleagues in school. And then I think it just helped me eventually just move from the shyness and the nervousness that I was, having around, and the anxiety that had formed during that time. But yeah, initial years in New Zealand was not easy. There were language differences, different social environment. There was it was a cultural shift. It was a huge thing for me. So yeah, it took time to adjust, but it did build my character and strength moving forward. And yeah, it has helped me and shaped me into who I am today.
I know, because many of us migrants, we share quite a common story, right? When we're young, or some even slightly older, who move into a foreign country, the ways, especially the education system, the making friends can be a bit tricky. But thank you for sharing. And from high school, then you move into university, right? And can you describe moving from high school into university, and what did you study?
So I went to the University of Auckland and I studied, I did Bachelor of Arts, majoring in Employment Relations and Organizational Studies. I have also, one of my other majors was Industrial Psychology, which is what I'm practicing right now in my work field. And my experience in university was not as bad as my experience in high school, I would say. I think along the way I had built some confidence there. And then I studied what I loved, and it was all about people. So it was a great experience for me. So I quite enjoyed, and like I said, during that time, I was also working part-time in events, and that whole, phase of my life, it really changed everything around, working with people and working with Mr. MC. I had lots of, different clients, met lots of different people. It really did change, bring a positive change in my life. So I think that was one of the most amazing phases of my life, really. Yeah.
Mm. So you're saying from school, by the time you moved to university, you've become a bit more of yourself. You've figured out who you are, and university was slightly easier, right? Before we move to, and I know you mentioned getting married, but before you move to that phase of life, can you tell us how important the role of parents were when you were, from 12 to your late teens and then moving into adolescence? I know you have an amazing parents. Can you just tell us just a little bit about their part in your growth?
I think having parents who you could turn to for, like I was going through, being bullied during that time, and just someone you can turn to for advice with everything, helps a lot.
Yeah.
And during that time, I had a strong support system in both my parents, my mom and dad. My mom especially has been my best friend. So I could, turn to her, and she was always very encouraging and helpful with everything. So it was great to have, a strong support system at home who I could turn to for advice, who I could be with. And their support really has, made me stronger throughout the way. And it didn't make that time as difficult as it could have been. So it's great to have someone who was, always there for me and supported me throughout the way and made this journey so much more, blissful and peaceful for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I can understand the importance of having a set of shoulders to fall on when you are going through your own journey as a teenager, especially regardless of, moving from one country to another. Just being a teenager, the changes in life can be quite difficult. And the importance of parents definitely highlighted. And you mentioned your mom. So well done, Mom, for the support you have been for Ashwani. Now, then you mentioned, Ashwani, that after you graduated, you found an amazing man. Oh, well, you worked for a bit and then you found an amazing man who you got married to and you bought a house. So well done that you were able to do that at a young age. That's inspirational. Now, can you tell us a little bit about from being married to then a few years later finding that you are going to be a mom yourself? How was that? How did you feel? What was going on in your mind?
That was the most surreal experience for me. I remember the day of finding out, I unfortunately had also lost my pet, my princess. And that was the same day that I took her to the vet and then found out the news and everything and took her back home while she was no longer with me. And my mom, I remember, tells me that, don't worry, because I was crying. I was really like very, very sad that day. And because I was very close to my pet. Her name was Princess. And my mom tells me that she will, in one way or another, come back in your life. So don't worry about it. So I went home. I kept thinking about it, and I did a test. I took a test, and I took a couple more after that, and it was confirmed that I was pregnant. I don't know. Even the doctor said it was a miracle baby because it was too soon for me apparently to find out. So that was just like I said, a surreal experience. I was so thrilled, and in one way or another, I felt like my princess is back. That was the most beautiful thing. So I remember being the happiest. That was the best day of my life, really. Yeah.
Of course, the joyful news of being a mother yourself, and I can only imagine that. Plus, also, I know that there would be so many women out there who would be so eager to wait for this special day. All right, so from finding out that you were going to become a mother yourself, just describe a little bit about the journey from there till baby princess was born. Hi, friends. Today's episode of the Three Stories podcast, which is dedicated to all mothers on Mother's Day, has been proudly sponsored by an incredible woman and a mother, Ananya Narayan, the director of Kiwiana Financial Services. Now, if you are in the market for insurance, be it life insurance, health cover, income protection, trauma, business, or fire in general, or you need advice on mortgage or your will, please contact our very friendly Ananya Narayan from Kiwiana Financial Services Limited, and she will be most happy to help you out.
Um, the journey, the whole pregnancy journey, was not an easy one. There were lots of, bodily changes. There's lots of things that women go through, and I was all, figuring it out day by day. It was very, very hard, for me to go through those 9 months. But I think with the support of the right support, with my parents being there, my in-laws being there, my husband being a very strong support system throughout my pregnancy journey did help me a lot. It was hard. There were sleepless nights. There was lots of, back pain, lots of things associated with it. But and that every woman goes through. So hats off to every, woman that goes through pregnancy, because it's not for everyone. It's not easy. And I was blessed, I would say, to have a strong, support by my side. My husband standing there throughout all pregnancy appointments, all appointments with the midwife, um, and um, and my in-laws as well. So it was, they always had food ready for me, and my parents would always support me throughout through any test or anything. So it's always it's a new experience. The doctor's visits, it can be very scary. And just having someone holding your hand right by your side was a blessing. So yeah, I'm very happy and blessed to have had that experience.
Definitely, I think that support is so critical in that early phase of life, and especially when it's your first child. I'm guessing because then you haven't experienced all those things. It, with the right support, the journey can be made easier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now then we fast forward 9 months, then baby is born. Now, how was the experience? How do you feel? Getting baby home or being in hospital and then bringing baby home. How was that journey for you?
Being in the hospital was, we had to be induced with labor. So I was in the hospital for 4 days. And again, it was a very scary experience for me. I was mortified those 4 days, and it was kind of traumatic for me. So I don't want to go into it too deeply, but it was a huge challenge. My husband and I, on the day the baby was born, were in the labor room, in the room that they had shifted us to, and we were searching how to change a baby's diaper at 3 in the morning. So you'd had to learn everything by yourself, and it was a fun experience. Learning all of that, and just I think that brought us together, our relationship
Ah,
together. Being together in it through those 4 days in the hospital. So it was quite a journey. But yeah, I loved every minute of it. It was traumatic though. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. And they say that women forget their birthing experience so that they can actually go into having another child. I wouldn't say I forgot that, because I had a hemorrhage. I lost 1 liter of blood. I thought that was going to be my last day. Really, the situation became very intense. There were surgeons in the room, and it was a scary experience. But yeah, I had my angel with me, and there was nothing else that I wanted at that time. So
Right.
really, yeah, took all that trauma away.
Thank you for sharing, Ashwani. And I know it sounds like it was a traumatic experience, but then once again, knowing that your husband is there right next to you, their family support, their prayers coming for you, that will that just allowed it to carry through, right? Now, seeing your baby for the first time, how was that?
Oh, that was, oh my God. Yeah, that makes me emotional. It was everything. Like I have my whole heart like outside of me. I'm holding my heart outside of my body. It was the most beautiful thing, and there's no feeling in the world that you can say to explain that feeling really. There's no ways to express it. It was just beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, and I know for the first time parents, the young parents, I like how you're saying at 3 a.m. you were trying to Google how to do this or how to get the nappy change or the processes from there, and it would be real for so many of our young couples, right? And then obviously once the baby is born, just holding him or her, the experience of that would be amazing. So, young parents, I just want to at this point just say, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing experience for you if you're thinking of having a child. Don't. I'm sure we'll hear from Ashwani what she would say in terms of being ready and being a parent. I don't know if you're ever ready, but yeah, no, it sounds like the experience and the journey becomes worthwhile. Right, Ashwani. So now we come to your shift focus towards your professional life, right? Now you have a baby, you have a husband who has a professional job. How then, from getting the baby from hospital to home, how did you adjust that, or actually the beginnings of motherhood? How was that experience, knowing that you're not just a daughter now, you are also a daughter plus a mother now? How was that?
Right. Having a baby has changed my life completely. In the best way possible. It brought a kind of love and purpose into my life that I can't fully explain. But at the same time, motherhood is also incredibly demanding, emotional, and exhausting. My husband and I do like truly work life together as a team. He works night shifts, so does shift work, 4 days on and 4 days off. And honestly, this journey would not have been possible without him. Some days are literally like we get to see each other for about an hour
Hmm.
only. So he leaves for work and I come back and take over baby duties. And there are nights where I'm always like awake multiple times with the baby, and I still, get up early in the morning for work. It can be physically exhausting, but when I come home and I see my daughter and her smiling at me, it just makes everything worth it. I think becoming a mom has made me realize, how powerful women truly are. We carry so much mentally, emotionally, and physically, and somehow keep showing every single day. We keep showing up. We show that we're strong in the work field, everywhere. But no one knows what goes behind, at night when you're struggling with sleep and, you're exhausted, you're physically, drained, but you still are there to show up. And that just shows the power that, women hold. So yeah, that was my experience.
Big shift from being a single woman to being married, and now l- looking after your not looking after, but now being with your husband. You also are responsible for a life, right? And who is pretty much fully dependent on you. And I can just understand the changes you've had to quickly make. Now, just describe to us, how does like a day in your life look like at the moment with baby?
I mentioned a bit of not being able to sleep at night, so that just started recently because of her teething. So she started teething. She had a good routine beforehand. So at night time, she would be in bed by 11, but
Mm-hmm.
recently she's been sleeping even like later on, so that becomes very hard for me. So yeah, I don't get much sleep at night, and then in the morning, waking up at 6 and then getting everything ready. And while I'm getting ready, I ensure that once she is woken up by 7 a.m. So my husband during this time is doing night shift. And while I finish getting ready and she's woken up, I make her milk, I feed her, I change her diaper, I do everything for her, and then get her ready for bed again before my husband comes home. So he gets home, and then I leave. So he's on baby duty and he's looking after her and he's taking care of her, just putting her to sleep, milk, the feeds, she has 3 feeds during the day, 4 feeds during the day. And then, so he's doing that while I come back home by 2 or 3 p.m. again. And then I take over. I feed her at 3 p.m. again. She's on solids now. And then I take her for a bath, all
Mm.
of that. So it's just daily routine with her, just a lot of work, a lot of physical labor there. But and then once we're all like she's all settled, my husband goes to like he does like back to back, like sometimes night shifts. So he goes to back to work again. And I'm back from work, and I'm physically, working with the baby all night. Yeah, helping her sleep and everything. But yeah, that's how busy my life can be. And the weekends just go away with family stuff and just looking after her. So it's a full on duty, having a child. Not to scare
Initial.
anyone,
Yeah. Mm.
but it is, there are beautiful moments throughout. It can sound exhausting, because it is.
Mm.
But if you're, that like I said, that beautiful smile that your baby has, or her calling me mama at the end of the day, just makes it so much more beautiful. Like you can, there's nothing that can be compared to that.
Mm.
And I don't mind being tired or having sleepless nights when I'm with her. So yeah, that is my experience, my daily routine of the day.
Mm. I think you touched on it a little bit, but if I was to ask you, what motivates you or what inspires you to day in, day out go through this rigorous routine? What is that one or two sources of inspiration or motivation for you?
Mm. I think for me, my husband and my parents have been my biggest inspiration, especially my mom. Growing up, watching her navigate through difficult situations with strength and resilience has taught me so much about perseverance. She never gave up, even when life was challenging, and seeing her grow up really changed my mindset completely. And it shaped it in a way that, I was a stronger individual. I knew that whatever came my way, there was always a way out of it. Like I always, believed having parents or a husband who believed in you or who, encourages you and supports your dream does make a massive difference in your life. And I think my biggest inspiration, has been them. So I'm very grateful to have them in my life.
Oh, wonderful. Ashwani, thank you for highlighting the importance of parents in the life of children. To the parents listening, I know being in a relationship, these days marriages are difficult, but I think just to stop and pause and just realize the importance of you being part of your child's life, the importance of it. These days, I work with quite a lot of people through our coaching of better version of you, and just many a times we see the impact of the childhood, the upbringing they have had to how they turn up as adults. It's there's a huge relationship there. The surrounding, the way they were brought up to how they turn out as adults. There's a great link there. So parents, I just want to encourage you all to just be the best friends for your kids as much as possible. Obviously, setting the right guardrails, but your work as parents are greatly acknowledged and appreciated, because I know your children, they may not say it, but as they grow older, they 100% recognize the importance of your part in their lives. So Ashwani, I just want to say that If you were to give a word of encouragement to young couples who are thinking of having their first baby, or maybe young parents with their first baby, what would you say to them? What would your advice to them be? And what would your motivation to them be?
I would say to stop putting pressure on yourself to be perfect all the time. I think you can be amazing moms and still have dreams and ambitions and goals outside of motherhood. The two can coexist. Just go into it. Like, I know there would be, lots of advice that you're going to get from people, but if you feel the time is right, go for it. And don't be afraid to ask for help and lean on to your support system. And, once you are a mother, there will be hard times, but make sure that you take, breaks when needed. Rest is important. That's what a lot of mothers struggle with, and that's what I struggled with initially, like a lot. And most importantly, I would say don't lose yourself after becoming a mom. Continue doing the things that make you feel happy, confident, and fulfilled without feeling guilty about it. Motherhood is a huge part of who you are, and it's not the only part. Your goals will still matter, your career will still matter, your happiness should still matter. So, yeah, you can be a mom and, still be at work every day. Like you can, there's nothing selfish about being or wanting to grow as a person while being a loving mother. So yeah.
No, no. So definitely, I hear that you're saying that you can be a mother as well as a career-driven professional mom as well at the same time, right? Obviously, there will be a bit of challenging and juggling, but you shouldn't, or one shouldn't feel guilty of trying to have a career, trying to
Yeah.
have a personal growth plan
Yeah.
and having a child at the same time, like how to balance that, right? So you put it quite nicely there, Ashwani, that it is okay. You will need to rely on people. There is a support system. When the time is right, you will know. And it's okay to be having a professional career as well as being an amazing mom. So Ashwani, as we draw close to the end of our conversation, I mentioned in the start that you wear multiple hats, a daughter, a wife, a mother, a friend, a colleague, and obviously your professional side. Very quickly, how do you balance all those relationships? Because it's tricky, right? How do you try and keep in line or ensure that all your relationships remain healthy while still, growing and being and doing what you want?
Ooh, the balance. Honestly, balance looks different every single day for me. Some days the house is organized, work is great, the baby is happy, and I feel like everything is under control. And other days, dinner is late, laundry is sitting, untouched. I'm exhausted. I'm surviving on coffees and energy drinks. But I think that social media, creates an unrealistic balance. That means, it shows that doing everything perfectly is the real deal, but real life doesn't look like that. I think for me balance is learning what needs my attention the most in the moment and accepting that it's not and not you cannot be perfect in every area in life all the time. Women, especially moms, we often try to carry ourselves, like everything by ourselves. But I think teamwork is what has, helped me throughout this, and communication. They're so important with the family, with the husband. My husband and I work constantly together to make things work in our life at the moment. So I think balance is less about perfection and more about building your career, your family, your relationship, your personal growth. It can all coexist in a very realistic and a healthy manner. So yeah, just
Mm.
having the right balance, really.
A balance, and I love how you're saying that balance could look different on different days. That
For
is so
sure.
beautiful. And I am one who agrees that to be the best version of yourself for someone else, you got to first be the best version of your own self, right? To be the most useful for someone else, you got to first be okay within yourself. And it is so important that self-care, that self-love, as you alluded to earlier, with that that balance of support and family, that you are able to look after yourself. You are sane yourself before you can be the best mom or the best dad for your baby, for your child. Thank you, Ashwani. That's been amazing. Before we finish off, it's Mother's Day. It's this episode is around Mother's Day. So, do you have any word for all our mothers who will be listening to this episode?
Yeah, I would love to talk a little about emotional realities of postpartum life. Becoming a new mom, that was a huge part of my life. So, and then people, I think, don't discuss this openly, but I also think that it's really important to talk about how crucial support from a husband or a partner is during this postpartum period. Women go through a massive physical, emotional, and hormonal transformation after childbirth, and having a supportive partner can make a huge difference. And sometimes, support isn't about grand gestures. It's not about doing something grand, but it's just about having or being present emotionally in that moment, helping with the baby, noticing when your wife is overwhelmed, reassuring her, and just simply standing by her during one of the most vulnerable periods of her life. I think that's very important. So I would like to pass on a message to all the dads out there, all the new dads, to support your wife and just understand her during this phase, because she's going through one of the most difficult changes, and she's also not able to understand all the changes around her, and she's adjusting to it herself. So yeah, I think conversations like these are so important, especially for young moms trying to balance career, family, and identity. If sharing even a small part of my journey has helped someone or has made them feel seen, understood, or motivated, I think that means a lot to me. So thank you, Pritesh, for this beautiful opportunity. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Ashwani, for your time and beautifully said those words of encouragement to young moms, to new dads as well. The importance of teamwork, the importance of communication with each other and understanding each other. Because some days the mom might be feeling well, but the dad may be feeling overwhelmed, or vice versa. Then, but talking to each other, understanding each other not only ensures that your child has a good growth path, but at the same time, your relationship is short. Your relationship is solid, and that is very important in this new, exciting, and wonderful phase of becoming parents, being young parents. And I'd just like to say to all our mothers out there, young, old, you all are amazing. From the team at Better Version of You, and I'm sure from Ashwani, we just want to wish you all a wonderful Mother's Day, and we pray that your lives continue to be amazing. So, thank you, friends, for watching our episode, and we'd love to hear your comments. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share as we try to bring you other amazing conversations, real, lived like experiences to you all. Thank you. Keep well. Hi, friends. Today's episode of the True Stories podcast, which is dedicated to all mothers on Mother's Day, has been proudly sponsored by an incredible woman and a mother, Ananya Narayan, the director of Kiwiana Financial Services. Now, if you are in the market for insurance, be it life insurance, health cover, income protection, trauma, business, or fire in general, or you need advice on mortgage or your will, please contact our very friendly Ananya Narayan from Kiwiana Financial Services Limited, and she will be most happy to help you out.